Living in a tight-knit community often comes with its own set of challenges, especially when it involves the Homeowners Association, HOA. This story unfolds a bizarre incident where the HOA president's son called 911 on me, mistakenly believing I was doing something wrong at my own ranch pool, completely unaware that he was the one trespassing. The setup was a sunny Saturday morning, and I decided to spend some time at my ranch pool, enjoying the peace and quiet. After weeks of hard work and late nights, this was my moment to relax. I had recently installed a smart lock for extra security, ensuring that my property was safe while I took a dip. As I lounged by the pool, I couldn't help but appreciate the beauty of my surroundings. The sound of birds chirping and the gentle rustle of leaves created a serene atmosphere. Little did I know, my tranquil day was about to take a dramatic turn. The intrusion, while I was basking in the sun, I noticed a figure approaching the pool area. It was the HOA president's son, Jake, a young man in his early 20s, known for his penchant for meddling in others' affairs. He strolled onto my property without a care in the world, clearly unaware that he was trespassing. "What do you think you're doing here?" I called out, trying to maintain a friendly tone despite my surprise. Jake, without acknowledging my presence, started fiddling with the smart lock on the pool gate. "Why do you have a smart lock? This is a community pool!" he exclaimed, his voice dripping with accusation. The call to 911 before I could respond. Jake pulled out his phone and dialed 911. "Yeah, I've got someone here trying to break into the pool," he said, his voice filled with indignation. I was taken aback, realizing he genuinely believed he was protecting the community by reporting me. "Excuse me? This is my property. You're the one trespassing!" I shouted, trying to explain the situation. But Jake was too caught up in his self-righteousness to listen. The arrival of the authorities. Moments later, sirens blared in the distance. I couldn't believe this was happening. As the police arrived, I felt a mix of frustration and disbelief. The officers approached cautiously, clearly unsure of what they were walking into. I quickly explained the situation, showing them my identification and ownership documents for the property. They listened patiently, glancing at Jake, who stood there looking sheepish as he realized the gravity of his mistake. Resolution. After a brief discussion, the officers confirmed that I was indeed within my rights to be at my own pool. They turned to Jake, explaining the legal ramifications of trespassing and misusing the emergency services. His face turned crimson as he realized he had overstepped. "Next time, maybe check before you call the cops," one of the officers advised him, a slight grin on his face. Jake mumbled an apology, clearly embarrassed. Conclusion, as the officers left, I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief wash over me. This absurd incident had turned what was supposed to be a peaceful day into a chaotic one. However, it served as a reminder of the importance of knowing boundaries and respecting others' property. In the end, I returned to my pool, chuckling at the ridiculousness of it all. The HOA might have its quirks, but I was determined to enjoy my home, smart lock and all, without fear of unwarranted interference. My name is Jake Reynolds, and I live on a quiet 12-acre ranch just outside of Oak Ridge County. I moved there to escape the chaos of the city, to enjoy some peace, space, and the simple sound of wind through the trees. But peace never lasts long when your property borders an HOA community. Chapter 1. The Pool and the Problem. Behind my ranch house, I built a large pool and patio, private, fenced and clearly marked as personal property. For years, I let my neighbors from the nearby HOA use it occasionally for parties or family gatherings. I was being nice. But one day, I came home to find a group of kids splashing in my pool without permission. Snacks, music, and all. Turns out they were from the HOA and their parents thought it was community access. I calmly told them, "This is private property. You need to leave." Their parents didn't take it well. A few days later, I started getting nasty emails from the HOA president, accusing me of restricting shared amenities. Shared amenities? On my land? That's when I decided to put a stop to it. Chapter 2. The Smart Lock Solution. I installed a high-tech smart lock on the pool gate, fingerprint access, motion alerts, and a live security feed. I even added a small sign, Private pool. No unauthorized entry. Violators will be reported. For a few weeks, things were quiet again. Then came the day everything went sideways. Chapter 3. The HOA's son one Saturday afternoon. While I was working in the barn, I got a motion alert on my phone. Someone was at the pool gate. Trying to pry it open, I checked the camera feed. It was Ethan, the 19-year-old son of the HOA president. He was clearly trying to bypass the lock. When the gate wouldn't open, he called 911. Yes, he actually called the police, saying the ranch owner installed a lock to block HOA residents from using the community pool. Minutes later, 2 sheriff's deputies showed up. Chapter 4. The confrontation when they arrived. Ethan was standing at the gate, arms crossed like he owned the place. "Sir," one deputy said to me, "we got a call about a restricted public area." I smiled and handed him a folder, my property deed, blueprints, and security footage. "This isn't a public area," I said. "This entire ranch, including the pool, has never been part of any HOA property." The deputy checked the documents, looked at Ethan, and said, "Son, you're trespassing." Ethan's jaw dropped. He tried to argue, but his own call log and GPS showed he had walked through a locked gate onto private land. The officer warned him about criminal trespass and escorted him back to the HOA side. Chapter 5. The Fallout. That night, I got another email, this time from the HOA president herself, furious that I had embarrassed her family. She demanded I remove the lock and reconsider community cooperation. So I did the opposite. I upgraded the fence, installed floodlights, and put up a new sign that read, "Private Ranch. Entry by invitation only. Trespassers will be prosecuted." A week later, I received an apology, not from the HOA, but from the sheriff's department. They told me I had every right to secure my land and that my surveillance footage was being used to formally warn the HOA about boundary violations. Chapter 6. The Lesson. Few months later, Ethan got a job out of town and the HOA kept quiet. Nobody came near my ranch again. I still use that smart lock. It's more than just security. It's a reminder that kindness shouldn't be mistaken for permission, and property lines exist for a reason. Now every evening when I sit by the pool, I look at that lock light up green for my fingerprint and smile. Some lessons need to be learned the hard way, and this one came with a click. My property, the North Star Ranch, was a sprawling 50-acre piece of land that bordered the pretentious Silverbrook Estates, a luxury development governed by a particularly meddlesome HOA. The HOA's main pride was a large, elaborate community pool, but my pride was my own private, spring-fed pool nestled deep within my property. Due to a bizarre, decades-old easement agreement, the HOA was granted limited pedestrian access through a small, fenced corner of my ranch to reach a public hiking trail further back. This agreement explicitly stated no use of or loitering around the primary residential amenities of the North Star Ranch, including the pool and private recreation areas. The HOA president was Rhonda, a woman whose ego grew in direct proportion to her HOA budget. Her 20-year-old son, Kevin, was even worse, an entitled trust fund kid who treated the entire ranch as his personal playground. For weeks, I had noticed unauthorized swimmers in my pool. I installed a simple, high-security smart lock on the pool gate, one that required a fingerprint or a specific code, to deter trespassers. It was invisible from the outside and did not violate any obscure ranch covenants. The unauthorized dive-it was a blistering Saturday afternoon. I was in my study when I received an alert on my phone. Pool gate access attempt. Unauthorized. I checked the security feed. There was Kevin standing by my private pool gate. He was already in swim trunks, flipping his wet hair, annoyed that his usual unhindered path was blocked by technology. He jiggled the handle and tried to pull the lock. Really? A smart lock?" he sneered, loud enough for my camera to pick up. "This is so tacky. I'm calling my mom. She'll have this trashy thing fined and removed. He then did something much stupider. He looked directly into the camera, pulled out his phone, and dialed. I assumed he was calling Rhonda. Instead, I heard his voice crackle through the pool's microphone system. Yes, 911? I'm reporting a safety hazard. I'm at the pool and some unauthorized individual has installed a high-tech, unauthorized lock on the gate. It's a fire hazard. I need immediate assistance to remove this security threat. And I think the owner is probably armed. I blinked. He had called 911 to complain about my pool lock on my private property and then lied to the dispatcher to expedite a response. The paperwork payoff, I didn't wait for the police. I grabbed two things: my official ranch boundary survey map and the original, ironclad easement agreement. When the two very confused county deputies arrived, I met them at the fence line. "What is the emergency here, sir?" the lead deputy asked, eyeing me warily. "The emergency, deputy, is that the young man by my pool gate is illegally trespassing on private property and just filed a false police report," I stated, completely calm. He called 911C, completely calm. He called 911C